Hello and welcome back to Wellywood Wargaming. My name is Damon and I'm here to talk about more Necromunda content. This time, after going into a massive undertaking of doing all of the weapons and all the various different weapons in the trading post last week, I'm now of course going to go into the black market weapons. I'm not going to go into the equipment and war gear as such, but I am going to go into the Imperial, Xenos and Corrupted weapons that you can get at the black market in Necromunda. Now, you know, obviously you have the conventional weapon types that you're more familiar with. This time, however, we've got some real zany, crazy, batshit, mental weapons here, which really bring a lot of fun and flavour to the game. Some of these I've seen in use, some of these I haven't, so I've only really, read the rules, and some of them probably need errataing from Games Workshop's end, to be honest, but there's some really cool stuff in here, so I'm going to go into it and discuss it. Again, please do comment. I really appreciate your comments, and I love the fact that these videos create discussions as well, and I hope that you're learning something from me by going through this as well. And I'm not going to go into a huge amount of depth, but I'm just going to go through each category and just give you some of the ideas that you can do with these weapons as well. And yeah, we'll go from there, I suppose. So starting with the Imperial weapons. Now we've got three categories, like I mentioned. We've got Imperial, we've got Xenos. So obviously the Imperial weapons are by nature Imperial. So they're weapons that you're much more familiar with if you play 40k. You then have the Xenos weapons. Xenos means alien, so we've got some alien weapons here, and we've got some corrupted weapons as well. Now the important thing to note with the Xenos and corrupted weapons is of course that you can't upgrade them, you can't give them infrascopes, things like that. So the Imperial weapons you can, the Xenos weapons and the corrupted weapons you can't, because they're already too fucked up to be able to even think about adding things to them. So, and to be honest, you're not going to need to, because they've all got lots of weird and wonderful weapon traits. So let's get into it. So starting off with the Imperial weapons, the first basic weapon, in fact there are only two basic weapons in the Imperial category. The first one is the Arc Rifle. Now the Arc Rifle basically shoots lightning. It's an interesting weapon. It has a 9-inch short range, a 24-inch long range, +2 to hit at short range, so that's very accurate at short range. Not so accurate at long range with a -1 to hit modifier there as well. It's strength 5, has no AP, has damage 1, a 6-up ammo, blaze, rapid fire 1 and shock. So as you can see, it's a pretty decent close ranged disruption weapon with blaze and shock. Shock is a lovely trait by itself, as is blaze. Both of them are very, very potent. And it's strength 5 too, so if you do wound, which you're likely to on 3s most of the time, you're also, on a side note, getting shock kicking off as well, and blaze too. So quite a nice weapon, but sort of let down by the long range accuracy there a little bit. But again, it's one of those things. The 6-up ammo as well can be a problem, but just worth mentioning that this hasn't got the scarce trait, so you can reload it. It's not plentiful, however, of course. So there you go, that's the Arc Rifle. An interesting weapon here, but by far one of the most normal actually out of all of these. Apologies, it's also very, very, very windy out here, so I feel like the roof might come off at some point, so if it does, then that'll add an extra bit of flavour to this. The next one, and quite a underwhelming one actually, is the Stake Crossbow. Now, in my new gang that I've got for the next campaign, I'm using the Sisters Novitiates from Kill Team as a sort of proxy redemptionist outlaw gang. Now that sounds a little bit confusing, but one of the models has a little sort of like handheld crossbow basically, and that's what this weapon is here. It's the Stake Crossbow, so it's quite useless actually on paper really. So we have a 5-inch short range, which is quite unusual. Not many things have a 5-inch. It's usually 6 or 4 or 8. And we also have a 15-inch long range, so a bit unusual in terms of the range here. We have +1 to hit at that short range though, no modifiers at long range. It's only strength 3, there's no AP, it's only 1 damage, it's 4+ ammo check. It does however have silent, which is interesting. It's quite situational though, it's only going to really work in certain scenario types if you play those often where you need to sneak around. But most importantly, most interestingly, it has the Hexagrammatic Trait. Now that's a new trait, obviously in the Book of Judgment, or I say new, the book's been out for a long time now, but Hexagrammatic was even more situational because we didn't really have that many Psychers in the game. Now, what it does is it causes double damage on Psychers, which is quite nice. And with the Book of the Outcast, we are going to have an influx of more psychic powers in the game, so it does make the Stay Crossbow slightly more valid, but I think for the price that it costs, which off the top of my head is, I can't remember exactly, but it's quite a lot, it's just not really worth it for a strength 3, no AP damage 1 weapon. Even if you do somehow, you know, just manage to get it off on a Psyker. Not the best weapon overall, I would say. Jeepers, it's getting very windy. Now we're going into pistols, Imperial Pistols here, so this one is quite exciting. We've got the Inferno Pistol. Now the Inferno Pistol is a melter pistol basically. I don't know why they just didn't call it a melter pistol, because that's what it is. 6-inch short range, 9-inch long range, strength 8, -3 AP, 2 damage, melter, scarce, sidearm. So the important thing to note here is it has the sidearm trait. So obviously close range with melter means that you're just going out of action if you get hit by it pretty much. It's very easy to take people out of close range with melter. It's very easy to take people out with melter generally, so I mean melter guns are incredibly powerful, but this pistol means that you can use it in close combat too, which makes it even more scary. So yeah, a really, really good one there, but again, very expensive for what you're doing with it. There are better alternatives that are a lot cheaper, I think, but it's a really potent pistol. The short range kind of lets it down a little bit, and there's no modifiers on that either. So that's the Inferno Pistol. Nice and fluffy weapon though. I think some characters in 40k might have it as well. The next one, of course, you'll be very familiar with if you're old school like me and you played lots of Space Hulk when you were a kid, would be the Stormbolter. So usually seen on Terminators as opposed to Space Marines. So even more sort of strange to see it in Necromunda, I suppose, but that's what the black market is all about, getting weird and wonderful weapons into the hive. So with the Stormbolter, we have the exact same profile as a regular bolter, 12-inch short range with +1 to hit, 24-inch long range, strength 4, -1 AP, 2 damage, a 6-up save. However, this one is scarce, so if you run out of it, you run out of it for the game, which is quite likely because it has rapid fire 2. So a normal bolt gun has rapid fire 1, meaning that you can potentially get 3 shots off at that strength 4, -1 AP, 2 damage. However, with the Stormbolter, you can potentially get 6 shots off, which is pretty tasty, but when you pair that up with scarce, it does make the weapon incredibly unreliable. However, the 1 or 2 times that you shoot it in a game, it's going to mulch anything that you hit with it pretty much, especially when you consider the average amount of shots is going to be 3. Very, very nice, but too expensive for what it is. I think if you can just get a regular bolter, it's probably going to be more effective and more reliable because you can actually reload it. Better yet, if you have access to an Enforcer bolt gun which has a 4-up ammo, then do that too, but that's only if you're an Enforcer, of course. Or if you're Vandoth the Fallen, who's my current favourite dramatist personae. So, out of that, we're moving on to the heavy weapons now. Now, these are pretty cool. Obviously, we've got one very iconic weapon here, which is the auto cannon. So again, you'll see this one in Imperial Guard armies in 40k and stuff, I think. The auto cannon is basically a giant auto gun, as you can imagine. It's got a lot of similarities with a heavy bolter, actually, in terms of its stat line, I would say here. And you can compare it to the heavy bolter in terms of its effectiveness. If you were going to start number crunching and getting into the meta of it, then I'm not sure which one is going to come out on top slightly, but I think I prefer the auto cannon here. It's a 24-inch short range. It's a 48-inch long range, but it doesn't have any modifiers to hit at short or long range, so unlike the heavy bolter that does. You have strength 7 though, so I'm comparing it against the heavy bolter because I think it's the nearest rival to it. It's strength 7 instead of strength 5, so you're wounding most things on 3s, which is wounding most things on 2s, which is substantially better than the strength 5 generally. You have -2 AP, so the same as a heavy bolter. You have 2 damage, so the same as a heavy bolter. However, you have a 4-up ammo check here, and it's not scarce, so far more reliable and far less likely to go out of ammo here. You also have knockback, which is lovely, and a lovely little extra to have on that, and it's rapid fire 1. So where the heavy bolter is rapid fire 2, this is rapid fire 1, so you might not get as many shots off, but those shots are much more likely to wound, and they're pretty much going to kill anything that you hit with it. Of course, you have that knockback too, so you're able to knock people off buildings and into walls and get that extra damage that you might need sometimes as well. So auto cannon is a fantastic heavy weapon. Of course, it's an Imperial weapon, so you can use a dispenser on it. I've used it on a squat Venator gang. I had a champion with an auto cannon, and he ripped people apart in nearly every game. It was pretty powerful. Was it overkill? Yes, of course, but I'd say it's better than the las cannon in that it's not just that one shot, and it's decent. It's reliable. It's a good heavy weapon. That's my 2 cents on the auto cannon anyway. The next one is my favourite heavy weapon in the entire game now. I haven't used one, but I really want to, and it's the Grav Cannon. So, you ready for this? 20-inch short range, 80-inch long range. So you're stretching across any board size pretty much that people might play on. Typically, you're looking at 3x3 or 4x4. It's going to get across those boards. Piece of piss. The Grav Cannon is -1 to hit at short range, +1 to hit at long range. So similar to your las cannon or whatever. It's more of a sniping weapon, I suppose, and it's better at long range. It doesn't have a strength statistic because it's Grav. We have -1 AP, 2 damage, 5-up ammo, a 5-inch blast template, which is as big as my face, and I've got a big face. So 5-inch blast here, which is just disgusting. You can hurl a Grav 5-inch blast across the board anywhere you like, at no negatives, only at positives to hit at long range, which is lovely. And we have Grav, of course, and Concussion. So Concussion gives you -2 initiative, and Grav, of course, is just nasty. So it works off, instead of rolling with strength, the opponent has to roll and beat their strength, basically. So, or get under their strength. So the higher strength the opponent has, the more likely they are to survive this, whereas the weaker targets, the lower strength targets, are much more likely to get mulched by this. Of course, there's no save, and it is 2 damage, so very, very nasty. But the thing I like most about Grav is the fact that template stays around on the board. So a 5-inch Grav template makes moving through it very, very hard. So you can just pop this in front of you and use it to screen and stop people charging at you. Of course, it's -1 to hit close range, but a 5-inch template, when it scatters, is not that much of an issue, say with a 3-inch template, which is more likely to miss. So really, 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 really fucking cool weapon here, the Grav Cannon. I can't think of any times that I'm going to be using it in a list anytime soon, but I'd really love to. I'd really like to know your thoughts if you have used it as well, because I think on paper it reads very, very well indeed. The next one is a bit of a, I don't know, this one's just strange. I like it because it's fluffy, but I can't see any real use in it, and that's the Mole Launcher. Now the Mole Launcher is like the opposite of a missile launcher in that instead of shooting it into the air, you're shooting it into the ground, and it has something called burrowing. Now burrowing means that you don't have to use line of sight to shoot it. You can basically pick a target anywhere on the board, anywhere, you don't have to be able to see that target, and then it moves 2d6 in a random direction, which is a bit weird really, and that would be kind of okay if it was a 5-inch template, but it's not. It's a 3-inch template, and it also has concussion as well, which is kind of strange. It's nice to have, but I think it would have suited seismic a lot better. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's interesting. It's strength 6. It's -1 AP. It's -1 to hit at short range. It's 60 inches in the long range though, which is lovely. So you can pretty much get everywhere as well. It's only 1 damage though, and it's 5-up ammo. So it's pretty strange. Just take the missile launcher, basically. Yeah, I mean, you can burrow at any height as well, so you can burrow up to the top of a 4-story building, I believe, in the way that it's read. But I haven't given this one a huge amount of thought, so I apologise if I'm getting anything wrong with the Mole Launcher, if I've overlooked it entirely. But it looks shit to me. I've seen a few people modelling them just because they make cool models, but yeah, it's not great on paper. But again, you know, please comment. Do you like the mole launcher? Why do you like it? I'd like to know. I'm never going to use it unless you give me some crazy thing that tells me that it's actually really good. There you go. Moving into my favourite category, and that's always close combat. I love close combat more than anything in this game at the moment. But the first one, again, is something that you're going to more likely to see on a Terminator in 40k, not so much in the Underhive. However, we have the Lightning Claw coming up next, and the Lightning Claw is very, very potent. I actually had it on a Delac leader for a while, and he was mincing things up. He had a nice balance between a Lightning Claw and a Plasma Gun. So he was really deadly at range and also really deadly close up too. He also had a falsehood, so he was super annoying. And a pet rat, if I remember correctly. But the Lightning Claw is similar to a Power Sword in its stats. It's +1 to hit though, which is really nice, which I think crosses over from 40k there. But +1 to hit is always lovely. So, you know, you're on a leader, you're pretty much always hitting stuff on 2s, which is nice. It's +1 strength, so similar to a Power Sword. It's -2 AP, again similar to a Power Sword. It is 1 damage, again similar to a Power Sword. It's melee, parry and power, again all the same as a Power Sword. Really nice. Power is a great trait, but you also have the added bonus of having rending on this one as well, which rending off the top of my head is double damage on 6s, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong. But that's lovely too when you pair it with power, which is also double damage on 6s and stuff, so I'm not sure how that works, but yeah. Lots of damage potentially if you hit with 6s and wound with 6s, so very good. The next one is straight up ridiculous, and that of course is the Indomitable Power Fist. Now the Power Fist is really cool actually in the game, to be honest. I mean, it's are you really going to see a Power Fist in Necromunda? Probably not. Servo Claws, maybe. But a Power Fist is just a massive fist. So if you really like fisting people in Necromunda, then I suggest you get a Power Fist. And yeah, it's nasty. So we're looking at a strength +3 weapon. So on an average ganger with strength 3, all of a sudden they're strength 6, so they're wounding people on 2s most of the time, which is very, very dangerous indeed. We've also got -3 AP, so that is, oh, you've got light carapace armor? No, you haven't. It's just chomping through any armor type except for heavy carapace. In fact, -3, all of a sudden heavy carapace is now a 6-up armor save. Very nasty. To add to that, we also have 3 damage. So again, just strength +3, -3 AP, 3 damage. It's all 3s, and it's all very, very nasty. If you get hit by a Power Fist, you are not getting back up again. It's got power, and it's also got pulverize, which I love. So pulverize is what you get on renderizers and stuff. So pulverize gives you, I think you can re-roll a flesh wound and turn it into a serious injury or something. Again, correct me if I'm wrong on that one, I'm just going over this very quickly. But pulverize is really powerful for turning those flesh wounds into potential coup de grace in combat. So, I mean, again, they have to survive that first for it even to work. But, I mean, yeah, the damage 3 thing on its own is bad enough. But the cool thing I like about the Power Fist, though, is that it's unwieldy. So you can't have, you know, you can only have a pistol, say, or another weapon. You can't, you know, it takes up 2 weapon slots, which is interesting. And I quite like that because it's just this massive, heavy fist, basically. So yeah, that's the Power Fist, and that's all the Imperial close combat weapons done already. We're then going to go into the grenade type in the Imperial category, and that is Phosphor Canisters. Now, Phosphor Canisters are basically napalm death. Not the band, more just napalm death. But basically, yeah, they are a grenade type, so their strength ×3. They're -1 to hit though, which is quite interesting, which is unusual for most grenades as well. But should they hit, they're strength 4, -3 AP, which again is horrific for any armor type, no matter how late in a campaign you are. They're also 2 damage, and they have a 3-inch blast and blaze. So if you don't get mulched by being wounded by a strength 4, -3 AP and 2 damage, which most of the time you are getting killed by that, you've got the added problem of being set on fire too. So only a 3-inch blast, mind, but still, it's pretty horrific. They are scarce as well, so when you run out, you run out. But yeah, they're a grenade anyway, so that doesn't really apply. So that is all the Imperial weapons. Now, yeah, as you can get from that, they're the normal ones out of the bunch. We've then got the Xenos and the Corrupted Weapons, which get even more mental. So let's get straight into it, basically. The Xenos weapons. So these are alien weapons that have come in through cold traders and whatnot in Necromunda, and some of them are more normal than others, but they're all pretty cool actually, and they all serve a purpose. Some of these, again, I think need erratering by Games Workshop, because some of the rules and some of the weapon traits don't necessarily work well together, but again, I need your help as a community to guide me through some of this, because my understanding is a little bit befuddled on some of these. This one, however, is very straightforward. The Kroot long rifle. Now, if you're familiar with 40k, Kroot are a Tau slave. I don't know if they're not slaves, obviously, but they're you know, an alien race that's affiliated to Tau. They're kind of bird guys, so they look like yeah, they look like birds, or featherless bird guys with beaks. But they've got these long rifles. Now, it's kind of the name long rifle usually makes you think of sniping weapons. Of course, this isn't that. It's actually a shorter range weapon, so with a similar range to a las gun here. So we're looking at a 12-inch short range with +1 to hit. We're looking at a 24-inch long range. Strength 4 though, which is lovely. No AP, only damage 1. 4 up ammo, which is always good, and knockback and plentiful. So they can be reloaded very easily. So like a much more reliable auto gun with strength 4 and no rapid fire. That's my way of thinking about it. So they're higher strength, but they don't have the rapid fire. So it's pretty nice. Pretty nice, really. Actually, it's more similar to, I suppose, a long-range dum-dum bullet. Does that make sense? Again, I shouldn't really be comparing weapons to each other too much at this point, but there you go. So that's the ranged profile. However, it has a close combat profile as well, which is effectively an axe. So we have +1 strength, 1 damage, disarm, so exactly the same as an axe, except this time we have versatile of 2 inches, so you can hit someone from 2 inches away with this thing as well, which is really good at +1 strength. So again, versatile is excellent because it means that you don't have to suffer you know, retaliation hits from your target. You can just walk up to someone and fight. You don't even have to charge either, so there's that too. Versatile is incredibly good and useful in this game for preserving your fighters, basically, particularly with corridor gangs who get the pole arms and whatnot. You see it more with them. So in the other basic weapons with the Xenos category, we've got the Rakgol Razor Gun. Now these guys are a cybernetic reptilian race, so I guess similar to the Slith in a lot of ways, maybe. I don't know much about the lore on these guys, but this one's interesting. It's got a 6-inch short range, a 20-inch long range with -1 to hit at long range. So again, much more accurate at that very, very short range, but still, it's nice though. We've got a strength 3 weapon, so not very strong, not very potent in that regard, but -2 AP though. So if it does go through, then the armor save is hard to come by. We have a damage 1 weapon here. It's ammo 6 up, rapid fire 2, so potentially getting 6 shots off with this thing, and it is toxin as well. So the confusing thing about this one is we have the toxin trait and we have a strength 3 weapon. Now I think they've just made a mistake here and they've put the strength 3 in. They should really just get rid of the strength and just use the toxin because it's better. Again, like, please comment if there's something about that I'm missing, but a strength statistic and toxin doesn't work together, does it? Don't think so. So there you go. Next we've got the Sling Gun. Now the Sling Gun's pretty cool. I've used this actually again on my previous Dalak gang. The Sling Gun is basically a shuriken catapult from like an Eldar Guardian or whatever. However, it's got quite a short range, so it's similar range to a pistol. It's got a 6-inch short range with +2 to hit short range, which is really lovely. And a 12-inch long range with no negs, no bonuses, nothing like that. It's strength 4, -2 AP, 1 damage, 5 up ammo, scarce, and rapid fire 1. So it's like a lower damage, more AP bolt gun. If you think about it like that, or bolt pistol actually, because the range is so short. Now I did use this to pretty good effect in my Dalak gang, but you did have to close the distance and get very close up. But I like the weapon. It's not as good as a bolt gun, obviously. It's also scarce too, so it's likely to run out of ammo, but it's nice to have weapons with higher AP in this game, especially later on in the campaign where people have more armor. So this is a good one to think about getting on late in a campaign, or if you're playing against enforcers regularly, things like that, then the Sling Gun can be very helpful here. Quite a nice one. None of these ones are particularly crazy. We're going to get into the crazy ones now with the special weapons. So prepare yourselves. First off, we have the Hrud Fusel. Now I'm going to say Hrud. I'm going to say Rud actually, because I think it's probably a silent H here. But these guys basically make a slightly stronger plasma gun here, and this is exactly what this is. It's a plasma gun, but it's just slightly different. So we have we have two profiles, a low and a maximal, just the same as a plasma gun. The low is 9 and 18 inches short and long range with no modifiers, which is interesting, so not as accurate as a plasma gun, and also not as much range. However, they are strength 6 on the low profile, so you're wounding things on 2s all of a sudden instead of 3s, which is of course much better. It's -1 AP, 2 damage, 5 up ammo save, rapid fire 1, and scarce. So very similar to a plasma gun, just higher strength, but not as accurate. The maximal profile, again, is very similar. It's a 12-inch short range, a 24-inch long range, so that's actually the same range as the plasma gun. It's +1 to hit at short range as well, which is better because there aren't any modifiers on that low profile. It's strength 8, -2 AP, and 3 damage. 5 up, scarce, and unstable. So very, very similar to the plasma gun in general. We still have the maximal profile having unstable, except with these guys you just have a higher strength by 1. So not a hugely exciting one there. I would just take the plasma gun actually for the extra range and the extra accuracy, because plasma guns are 100 credits and they're way too good for that even, I think. Here's where we get really fun though. So we've got the Necrotic Beamer next. Now the Necrotic Beamer is a strange interloper race known as the Sloth, who are generally reviled by both humans and other denizens of the galaxy. These hateful creatures do, however, possess a talent for creating biomechanical weaponry. So these sound pretty nasty. We've got this short range and close combat profile on this thing, which is pretty strange. So we've got a ranged profile like a pistol, 6-inch and 12-inch short and long. We've got -1 to hit at long range though. It's strength 6, it's -1 AP, it's a 6 up ammo, but it's damage 3. Melter, scarce, and scattershot. So scattershot gives you a d6 amount of hits, which is pretty nasty. So if you're going to hit someone with this and it's strength 6, you potentially getting 6 shots off is pretty amazing with the Melter trait, especially if you're in close range, because you're just gone. There's no chance that you're getting out of that one. However, there is a chance that you're going to say that this -1 AP is the one thing that stops this being completely ridiculous. But yeah, very interesting weapon there. It also has a close combat profile, which is +1 to hit in close combat, but has a 3-inch versatile range. It's strength 3 though, so you're halving the strength. There's no AP, it's still damage 3 though. And it's also Melter, melee versatile. So a pretty cool weapon, the Necrotic Beamer. Yeah, very, very, very good in close combat, obviously at that 3-inch versatile range as well, because it kicks in with that Melter trait being in close range. Meaning that, yeah, you're pretty much putting people out of action very, very easily there. However, the low strength in the short profile does give it, the low strength and no AP does make it a lot harder to actually get through. If you do get through, you're finished. Now this one I love, but it's a lot to think about. Now this is probably the most confusing one out of the whole bunch so far, and this is the Neural Flair. Now the Neural Flair is a template weapon with 2 profiles. And now, personally, I can't fathom why there are 2 profiles, because the second profile is so much better. But we have a short blast and a full blast on a template weapon with a flamer template. They don't have any stats at all. The short blast is a 4 up ammo. The long blast is the full blast, sorry, should I say, is a 6 up ammo. Now the short blast has concussion, fear, flash, which is interesting. So concussion gives you -2 initiative. Flash means that if you fail that initiative check, you're losing your ready marker. So if you pair those together, you're all of a sudden making that initiative check much harder, which is pretty cool. Again, it doesn't hurt you, but it's very disruptive. We've also got fear in there as well, so you can force people to be broken too. So again, you're not hurting anybody with the short blast, but it is very disruptive. Personally, I'd rather just use a flamer though, because then you're more likely to actually hurt people, get XP, and set them on fire. So that's worth thinking about. But that was the short blast. You now got the full blast, which is the same again, but with 6-up ammo. This one has concussion, fear, flash, gas, pulverize. So a lot to think about there. So we've got concussion giving you the -2 initiative. We've got flash giving you the making it even harder to keep your ready marker. We've got fear making you potentially broken. We've got gas meaning that you get no save and you're wounded on your toughness roll. And we've got pulverize, meaning that your flesh wounds turn into serious injuries, or one of them does. Too much to think about. It frazzles my brain. In fact, the Neural Flayer, I think what Games Workshop have done with the Neural Flayer is they've made it so difficult to get your head round that it's actually neural flaying you off the rules. So I'm being neural flayed as I read these rules because that's how complex it is. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just dyslexic, I don't know, but like that is just batshit crazy. Pretty cool though. I'd quite like to use it just to see, but again, I'm going to have to keep going back to the rules and just going, is that... So we've got gas and pulverize and... too much to keep track of, really. Pretty cool though. It's nice to see another gas weapon in the game. I like gas. It's very powerful, but doesn't pin stuff. So, weird weapon. But there you go. That's what it is. That was the Neural Flayer. Now I feel very neurally flayed. Now the last one is just fucking awesome. It's completely bananas, but it's awesome. It's called the Uvath Puzzle Box. Now this is like the little box out of Hellraiser by the sounds of it. It's really bizarre. So we have a 3-inch short range, a 6-inch long range, +2 to hit in that 3-inch short range, strength 2, -1 AP, damage 1, 3-up ammo. But here's the fun part. Rapid fire 3 and scatter shot. I'll just let that sink in for a minute. Rapid fire 3 and scatter shot. So with rapid fire, if I roll 3 rapid fire dice, I potentially maximum amount of hits I get is 9, right? Now each of those 9 hits then gets a d6. So I've potentially got 9 d6 amount of shots. Yeah, they're only strength 2, but they're -1 AP. They're only 1 damage, but I could potentially get a billion hits with this thing. Of course, it's very short range, and the funniest thing about this weapon, actually, the most hilarious thing about this weapon is it's unwieldy. So you can't move and shoot with it, and no, you can't get a suspensor with it either because it's a Xenos weapon. So this thing is incredibly situational, very expensive, but if you get to use it, it's just hilarious just because you're rolling a bucket load of dice, all of a sudden you're playing 40k. But yeah, rapid fire 3, scatter shot. I'd like to have this on someone who's like a really wimpy close combat leader, like a Vansar leader or something, who's a bit of a shooter, and having this as a backup weapon. Having someone fail a charge or get close enough to you for you to actually be able to use this without having to move would be hilarious. You know, I guess you could go the overseer route with this as well, just to be really fucking annoying and just overseer someone to get close enough to actually use it. But yeah, mental. I'd love to use it. I'd love to know if you've used it as well, but the Uvath puzzle box is by far the most interesting on all of these. I love it. I just fucking love it. It's awesome. There you go. Next up, of course, we've got one heavy weapon in the Xenos area. So we've got the Demiurg energy drill, which is basically like a squat energy drill by the looks of it. It's pretty crap though. So you've got a 3-inch short range, 9-inch long range, +2 to hit at short range, strength 7, -4 AP, so that negates any armor in the entire game. Yeah, so heavy carapace it gets through, no problem. With an undersuit, then it means you get a 6-up, but you know, who's got heavy carapace and an undersuit at any point in the campaign? Damage 2, 6-up ammo, impale, scarce and unwieldy. So it's quite interesting. It's like a really powerful harpoon launcher with -4 AP. So it doesn't have drag though. It is also scarce. but just such short range makes it really, really hard to use. And again, because it's unwieldy and because it's a Xenos weapon, there's no getting a suspensor for it, so you can rule that one out, which does make it pretty crap. To be honest, just take a mining laser instead, or I don't know, better yet, a harpoon launcher, to be honest, because then you can actually move and shoot with those guys. Close combat weapons. Now this one I've seen used in our current campaign. We have a Slaaneshi Escher gang that have a Xenarch Death Arc on their gang. Now the Xenarch Death Arc, it's a hard one to say, that one, is a close combat weapon technically, but it has a 5-inch versatile range. So yeah, 5 inches on versatile, which is pretty awesome. It's +1 to hit in close combat though, so you do get the bonus to hit if you're base to base with someone, but that 5 inches, you're always going to use it. It's only strength 3, there's no AP, it's damage 1, it's 2 up ammo though, and it's plentiful 2, which means it's hardly ever running out of ammo, and if it does, it's easy to reload. It's rapid fire 2 and shock, which is lovely. So potentially getting 6 shots off with shock, which is a great trait, very, very powerful. What's not to like about that one, really? Really fun. I've seen a few people modelling this on Sump City Radio. I'll shout out to you, by the way. A few people modelling this one on people as a big electric sort of shock stave Frankenstein type thing, which looks quite cool. And it's quite effective. But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't use it myself. But yeah, it's a fun one. It's definitely a fun one. It suits the Slaaneshi Escher a lot, that's for sure. And there you go. That's the Xenarch Death Arc. Now we're on to grenades. So the alien grenade is the Mind Flecked shard. Now this is basically a shard of sort of crazy Xenos contaminated stuff, and you're throwing it like it's just like something out of an Eisenhorn movie, actually, an Eisenhorn novel, or a Dan Abnett novel. I say movie. God, that would be great, wouldn't it? Dan Abnett movie, just any of those things. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. It's strength 3 grenade. It's -1 AP, it's damage 1, 4 up ammo, has a 5-inch blast though, so again, big as my face, and it's cursed. So cursed is really, really powerful. Cursed means that you're forcing your opponent to roll a willpower check. A lot of people have shit willpower, apart from leaders and champions and stuff. So if you're forcing someone to roll a willpower check, they fail it, they are subject to the insane condition. Now, insanity is really hard to get out of as well, but 1 in 3 times that you activate, you're going to shoot your own guys. Another one, you just become broken. Sometimes you can act normally, but yeah, getting out of the insane condition is really, really difficult, and you don't get any XP for getting out of it either, unlike you do when you're broken. So very, very powerful, this one. Really nice grenade, but again, quite expensive. So, excuse me. Have to clear my throat for this one. That was all the Xenos weapons. So we've done the Imperial weapons, we've done the Xenos weapons. Now we're going to do the last and funnest, probably in some ways, and that is the corrupted weapons. So these are all chaos corrupted weapons that have found their way into the hive through cults and uprisings and whatnot. So getting into it, starting off, we've got, with the basic weapons, we've got the Warp Storm Bolter. Now, not to be confused with a Storm Bolter, because this one doesn't have the extra rapid fire or anything. This is a bolter, but it's contaminated by Warp Storm. So it's a bolt gun. It's exactly the same profile as a bolt gun in every way. So we've got 12-inch short range with +1 to hit. We've got 24-inch long range. No modifiers on that one. Strength 4, -1 AP, 2 damage, 6 up ammo. Scarce, which makes it quite a lot worse, because 6 up ammo and scarce means that you are running out of ammo of it quite quickly. But we also have rapid fire 1 and cursed. So again, like exactly the same as a bolter, but when you get hit by it, you're forced to make those willpower checks to make, to avoid getting being made insane. So pretty cool, but just get a regular bolter. It's too expensive what it is, and it's also more unreliable than a regular bolter as well. So there is that too. We then have the Wither Touch pistol. Now this one's pretty cool. This is a 6-inch short range, 9-inch long range, so similar to a needle pistol in that regard. We have no modifiers at short or long, but it's a strength 3 weapon, no AP, 1 damage, 6 up ammo, so you're thinking, oh, this isn't very good. But it also has melter and toxin and silent. So this is a really good backup close combat pistol because you're kicking off that melter at close range. You also have Toxin as well. Quite interesting weapon, really. I quite like it. Again, it's probably too expensive for what it does, but it's nice. It's a nice one. Nothing really to talk about on that one, I suppose. That's the Wither Touch pistol. But moving on, though, we have something that is just horrific. This one's a special weapon. We've got the Balefire Thrower. Now, this one's straight out of your Tzeentch playbook here, I suppose. But we're looking at a template, a flamer, basically. Same strength as a flamer, so strength 4. Same AP as a flamer, so -1. However, this one's got 2 damage, which is all of a sudden very scary. So we're moving into the scary territory with this one already. It's got a 5-up ammo. It's got Blaze. And it's got Cursed. So not only are you likely to wound and smash someone with that 2 damage, but you've also got Blaze kicking off on a 4+, and you've also got them insane too. So if you put 3 guys under this template, you seriously injure the first one, quite likely. You set the other one on fire, and the third one gets insane. That's just some chaos kicking off all over the place, and I love it. It's very powerful. You're not going to make any friends using this one though, but I am using a Fire Pike in the upcoming campaign, and that's almost as bad, but this one really takes the cake on that one with that 2 damage and Cursed. So yeah, very, very nasty, this one. That's the Balefire Thrower. We've then got the Kai Hell Spear. Now the Kai Hell Spear is not a spear as such, it's a laser weapon or an energy weapon. And it's quite a low strength one, but when it goes through, it really, really goes through. So it's a tiny little laser that really spears through stuff. We've got a 6-inch short range, we've got 18-inch long range. There are no modifiers on this one either. Strength 3, -3 AP though, so if you do wound, you're not likely to get a save out of this one. It's only damage 1, it's 3 AP, 3 ammo, sorry, 3+ ammo. It's got Impale, Pulverize, and Rending. So really nice actually to have those 3 together. Impale means that if there are two guys, I can line them up, and if I get through the first shot, I can get into the next guy too. It also have Pulverize again, so you're turning those flesh wounds into serious injuries. And you've got Rending as well, which causes double damage on the wound roll of 6, I believe. Again, correct me if I'm wrong on these things, but that's a really nice little weapon. I had this on a Squat Venator as well. As a sort of harpoon type looking weapon that I used it as, and I didn't really get to use it much, to be honest, because it was too short range for me. I only had movement 3, so I wasn't really able to get anywhere. My leader was movement 2 as well, so that was dreadful because he got injured in the first game of the campaign. So it's just changing the subject entirely all of a sudden. Don't play squats. Movement 3 across the board is dreadful. You'll regret it. Trust me on this one. Just don't do it, it's not worth it. So, moving on to close combat weapons, we have the Desire's Needle. Now my leader currently, Oyuki Yagyu, bought the Desire's Needle from the trading post a couple of weeks ago, and I have been using it a little bit. I've only had 1 game with it. Now the Desire's Needle is basically like a kind of knife really, with some stuff. This one's a bit of a weird one as well. I couldn't really figure out how to use it best, but the main drawing point for me was that it was +1 to hit in close combat, so it made my 3-up weapon skill go to a 2-up, which was quite nice. So I've got a mastercrafted power sword and Desire's Needle. Swinging both of those things is quite cool. So I've got +1 to hit, like I said. It's strength +2, which is great, but let's get into that in a second because it's a bit confusing here. -1 AP, damage 1. Chem delivery, which is quite cool, so I could put chems in it if I really wanted to, which again I felt suited the sort of fluff of my assassin leader. It also has what's it called? It also has power and toxin. So again, you can't parry it unless you've got another power weapon, and it does double damage as well. And then toxin. So if you stack power and toxin, is quite an interesting one. So it means that if you do kick off that power thing, then you get 2 toxin rolls, I believe. I don't know. But the weirdest thing is obviously the strength +2 there. Not really sure how that interacts with toxin again. But yeah, a strength statistic with power and toxin is kind of weird and confusing, but yeah, I've been using it, and we've just been sort of ruling it as just a toxin weapon, so we ignore that strength one. Though it would be nice to get strength +2 on most things. Then we go into the Gore Drinker Axe, so that's straight out of the Cornate styles here with the Gore Drinker Axe. This one I've actually used before as well on a Goliath champion who was a beastman. I had a whole Goliath beastman gang. I need to take some pictures of those for you actually at some point because they look really cool. But we've got a strength +3 axe basically, which is disgusting. So he was strength 4, it made him strength 7 all of a sudden, so he was wounding other Goliaths on 2s. Sorry, on 3s. I can't speak. I've lost the ability to speak. But yeah, strength 7, it's nasty. So he's wounding people on 2. Your toughness 3 ganger on 2s. -1 AP, 2 damage. Reckless and rending. So rending obviously is a great trait, but we've also got reckless here. So reckless means that if I have some of my mates in close combat with me, I'm quite likely to hit them too. So it's not so bad on a close combat weapon where you're usually only one-on-one-ing people anyway, unless you really want to gang up on someone. This guy was just taking people out though by himself, so I didn't really have to worry about reckless. Reckless on a shooting weapon though, on a ranged weapon, can be quite the opposite, so that can be really funny and really dreadful when you're shooting your own guys. But that's the Gore Drinker Axe. Really good. Just a solid weapon and not too expensive either, actually. I think it's like 40 credits or something crazily cheap like that. I can't even remember. Quite a good one though. We've then got the Hex Iron Blade, which is pretty cool. So this is a cursed blade, a cursed sword actually, because it has parry and cursed. It is strength +1. It's -3 AP, 1 damage, and yeah, cursed and parry, so pretty nasty. And again, if you don't finish someone in close combat, which most of the time you're likely to because of coup de grace mechanics and things like that, then they can potentially go insane as well, which is quite cool. So that's the Hex Iron Blade. We've then got the Tenebrous Scourge. Now this one's basically a giant sort of energy whip. It's got a 3-inch versatile range here. It's strength +3, so again your average ganger is suddenly strength 6 and wounding most people on 2s. It's 1 damage, no AP. It's got entangle, so it can't be parried. It's got power, which is lovely as well, so you get that extra damage on 6s. And yeah, it's got the versatile range there of 3 inches, which is pretty good. So the Tenebrous Scourge is a very strong weapon there as well, I think. Very solid, nothing too crazy going on there, but really nice. And the last one in the close combat is my favourite one, and that's the Whisperbane knife. Now the Whisperbane knife is mental. It is +2 to hit in close combat, so if you give this to your ganger, suddenly their weapon skill is a 2-up, which is very nice, or even a Juve, a 3-up. Quite a good person to give this to actually. We've got the strength of the user. There's no AP, it's only damage 1, but it has backstab, which is nice to have, so you get that extra strength from charging into the rear of someone. And you also have scatter shot, so it's pretty funny. So you get d6 hits, so if you've got someone charging in with 3 attacks, say, and all of them hit, then you've got 3d6 hits coming off. Sure, they might only be strength 3 or whatever, and they've got no AP, but that's quite likely to wound people and finish them off. But it's just you're running in and you're just going stab. So yeah, I really like the idea of this one, and it plays pretty cool as well. Escher Juve with a Whisperbane knife and a Toxin, a stiletto knife or something. Quite a cool little thing to do, but yeah, very nice that one. We've then got my favourite grenade type in the entire game, and that is the Shard Grenade. Now the Shard Grenade, again, straight out of like a Gideon Ravener novel. They had the shards in that people were addicted to looking into these shards and whatnot. I think this is the same sort of thing here with the fluff. But we have basically a cursed piece of glass or something. So we've got a grenade, so it's strength ×3 throwing this. It's only strength 2. But you don't need these for the strength. It's -2 AP though, so if it does wound people, it's -2 AP, which is quite nasty. It's damage 1, 4-up ammo, and the best thing about it, well, 2 best things about it, 3 best things about it actually, because it's got a load of good traits here. It's a 5-inch pie marker, pie template, so that's huge. It has cursed, so it's basically a curse you grenade. And it also has rending as an extra little add-on there as well. So very nasty. I had these on my Corpse Grinder Initiates and they were horrific. Really nasty. Making people go insane while you run in and chop them up with Butcher's Cleavers. So just don't be that guy. Don't play corpse grinders. Just play them once and then never play them again, because you're just going to lose friends. But that's the shard grenade. I really, really like those. Definitely my favourite grenade so far. Like that, the insanity is such a powerful thing to pull off on people. I highly recommend it. And again, not too expensive either, those ones. Better than the Mind Fleck shard, I would say, because even though they're not as much damage output, they're still very disruptive. And the 5-inch template over a 3-inch template is always great. So that was the 3 main categories. So you've got your Imperial Weapons in the black market there, you've got the Xenos Weapons in the black market there, and you've got your Cursed or Corrupted Weapons there as well. The last things I'm just going to get into very quickly is the special ammunition types. Now what we've got here is we've got some Chem Darts. Chem Darts are basically, they're chem delivery darts. So you put these in a needle weapon and they mean that you can deliver certain chems to people, but you can go into this in more depth with Escher Chem Alchemy, so I won't go into it too much there, but you get the idea, right? I've talked about these before in previous videos, but you've got focusing crystals as well. You can add these to any las weapon potentially, so las carbines, las guns, las pistols, long lasers and whatnot, and these give you -2 AP, but they give you the unstable trait, so your las guns can potentially blow up, but again, very useful to have late on in campaigns to try and negate those high armor targets. You then have gas shells, so that's pretty nasty. We've got the gas trait coming back here in shells, so you can put these in shotguns, bolt guns, combat shotguns, sawn-offs. But yeah, very, very nasty. They just changed the weapon into having the gas trait as well, so I won't go into that in too much detail, but gas, you know, if you beat the target's toughness, basically, the toughness roll there, then no save can be made. It's just straight up injury roll. So great at beating multi-wound targets. Similar to Toxin, but you don't get a save with gas. The only thing is it doesn't normally pin people, but when you're hitting them with a bolt round, it certainly does. So we've then got Shatter Shells. Now Shatter Shells are basically frag rounds for shotguns, bolt guns, stuff like that. So they have a 3-inch blast marker, which is limited. So, but it's the strength 3, -1 AP. The only thing they don't have is the knockback from a frag round, but a frag grenade anyway. So that's Shatter Shells for you. We then have static rounds. Now static rounds you can put in auto guns, stub cannons, auto pistols, stub guns, long rifles and heavy stubbers. And what static rounds do is they go through energy shields a lot better, so they're much better at getting through you know, the Banter energy shields and whatnot as well. And with field armor, they have to make their save roll twice and pick the worst one, so that's quite cool to get through energy fields as well, like displacer fields, which can be very, very potent. You then have Wart Browns, of course. Now Wart Browns are pretty amazing because they, you put a Wart Brown in something, in an auto gun, stub cannon, auto pistol, stub gun, long rifle, heavy stubber, and all of a sudden you have Cursed on there as well. So again, these are single shots though, but if you're hitting someone with an auto gun round, then you know, you might not wound them, but you can certainly curse them and send them insane again, so that's pretty cool. And that's basically that. So it's quite a big video there. I hope you appreciate that one. But yeah, some weird and wonderful and wacky weapons in the black market there that we just went through. I'm not going to go into the armor, the equipment and the war gear. I think I need to do another video for all of that stuff, and I might just do it all together actually, because there's a lot to get through, a lot to chew through. I'm also going to do videos on everything. I'll do a video on weapon traits on their own. I'm going to do videos on skills, on gang lists, on anything, you name it. But if there's anything specific that you'd like to see me do a video on, then please do comment. I'd really appreciate your feedback on stuff like this. I'm hoping to get a microphone as well, so I'm not so quiet on YouTube. I appreciate a few people have said that I'm very quiet, but that is what it is. For the moment, I'm just doing this on my phone, so we'll get better stuff with your support, and the more support I get, the more likely I am to keep doing this stuff. So I love the community with all my heart. So yeah, please like, share, subscribe, and I will catch you in the next video, which is actually our campaign finale battle report, which is going to be happening tomorrow night. So stay tuned for that one. It's going to be multiplayer madness as we hunt for the Germ Fiend. And that's it. Peace out.